Feels really good to be out on the water again. It has been too long. I'm on Wasp Lake. It's a little lake north of Quetico, Ontario, northwestern Ontario, north of Quetico. And I've been here before. I've been on this lake before with my family. We did a very light camping trip, 3 or 4 days with the kids, not traveling very far, doing lots of swimming and that kind of stuff. But this time, that was 15 years ago, I want to go farther up this lake than we did last time, and I want to explore some portages and see if I can get into a lake called Sandford Lake. That's the adventure. It is hot. It's only May, and it's super hot. Oh, that always cools me off. So this is another site I've camped at before. This is a really interesting site. It's quite well developed. There's steps up here. There's a little beach and steps up to a flat area. Let's go up here and check this out. So campfire and picnic table, and way in the back is an outhouse. So some outfitter has kind of developed this a little bit, and it's got a huge area for lots of tents. It does have motorboat access. That's how you can get this heavy stuff in here. I camped here with the kids, and these trees weren't here, and the fire pit wasn't as big, and I was working cutting up some wood, and I remember the kids were playing down below on the beach, and I kicked a stone over by mistake with my ankle, and it rolled down, just missed my daughter who was sitting on the beach down below here. It's quite a drop, maybe 20 feet or so. So that stone rolled and just missed her. So, scary things sometimes can happen on a camping trip. All right, filling up with water again. I'm so thirsty. It is so hot today. There's my water bladder, and it's ready to drink. I'm gonna have a sip and get back in the boat. We're back in the boat, and the wind is picking up a little bit. It's gonna push me, which is nice. Coming from the south. Yesterday when the wind picked up, it wasn't long after that there was some showers. Some of these clouds are starting to look dark, so I'm gonna go a few more kilometers and see if I can find a spot and settle in before the weather changes. I want to make decent progress today to make my travel tomorrow into Sanford a little shorter. As long as the gust is behind me, I'm happy. That water tastes good. It is very hot, 30 degrees Celsius today. Can't believe how hot it is. I've found a campsite, pulled my gear up, the boat's up. The tent is up as well, and I've filtered some more water, so I'm ready for the night. I got this amazing site, another very big site. A red piney site. The wind, I like red pine sites because the wind blows right through them, keeps the bugs off, and I got a great view out here. This is Volcano Bay, part of Crow Rock Lake. Dashwa and Crow Rock are connected, and that's Volcano Bay, probably the biggest fetch on the whole lake. So It's really blowing some wind this way, which is really nice. A very good start to the trip, if I do say so myself. Covered, I don't know, about 15K today. And I'm going to do about that much more to get into Sanford tomorrow. Beautiful spot, weather is great. Chance of some rain tomorrow and the next day, but overall looks like a good week. It is so hot, I don't know if I'm going to have much food tonight. I don't feel like eating. I'm probably just going to rehydrate, have a few snacks, chill out with a book, and that'll be that. Oh yeah, fly the new drone. So the goal of this trip is to explore the greater Quetico White Otter Lake area. I've probably done 20 trips in Quetico at least. If not, I'm probably pushing 30 trips. And I did a really great trip to White Otter Lake a few years ago. I've also been on this lake, but that was with family. And when I was here with the kids, I thought, you know what, it'd be great to do a bigger, harder trip, a grown-up trip, if you will, and push on and explore some of the smaller lakes in the area and see how they're connected. And what I'm doing here now is Crown Land camping. This is Crown Land. It's owned by the people of Ontario. And as a resident of Canada, I can camp here for up to 21 days before I have to move on and camp somewhere else. I am really close to a very famous Quetico Provincial Park, and I've got the same kind of setup as I would there. I've got a great campsite, rustic campsite, beautiful scenery, good access, tall red and white pine all over the place, which is what you'll find in Quetico. So I'm getting the same experience only for free. Quetico is a regulated provincial park, and it's an operating park, which means that they charge fees and have a permit system, and that's how you enter the park. The fees aren't too bad, but they have been going up. And so this is an alternative. You can go out on Crown Land, and very close by, just to the west, is White Otter Lake and the Turtle River Provincial Park. That is a regulated provincial park. There's different rules there, similar to Quetico, but it is not an operating park. So you can go there, there's no fees, and you can camp as if you're on Crown Land. paddling in the rain. I don't think this is anyone's favorite. Let me get reacquainted with where I'm headed here. Always helps to have the map right side up. I think the weather has finally decided what to do. Last night I had everything. And this morning, it feels like the pressure is releasing. It's raining. I'm gonna get sweaty in this raincoat. Never know what to wear paddling, but I think I waited a while, and I think this rain is gonna set in and stay for a little bit, so I might as well wear the raincoat. And off we go. More rain, more paddling. I'm in the narrows right now between two parts of Rock Lake. It's nice and calm. Despite the rain, it's kind of a pleasure to get the boat up to speed and cruise. I'm about 3K away from my first portage of the trip, and that'll take us into Wasp Lake. A new lake for me. This is all new territory now. Alright, we're on Wasp Lake. My first time on Wasp. That's a boat cache. That's pretty common around here. So I'm looking for the portage. I don't think there is one. I think there's a little gap right here that I can probably navigate. It's funny, you expect a portage so you're looking on the sides. I can get right through here, I think. Let me show you. Current. Whenever I see a cliff like this on a lake I've never been to before, I have to go check it out to look for pictographs. I'm looking for red ochre markings that could be bold or very, very faint, and I've noticed they're most often found under a rock overhang, just like these. There's one right there. It's really hard to see, but if you look closely, you see the red ochre. Even though I was very close to this, I really had a hard time discerning the shape, so I took a still photo, and when I got home I zoomed in and traced the outline. And this is the best I can make out. I'm still really not sure what this one is supposed to be. And there were a few other pictographs in the form of geometric shapes. My portage path crossed a logging road. Motor vehicle access is restricted, so you can't drive here. You have to boat in or fly in. And even though you don't expect any traffic, do look both ways before you cross. So I cleared that portage and I am now on Sandford Lake. Believe it or not, this is called Garbage Bay. I kid you not. Lots of fish. I already see some bass in the water. My goal now is to go find the best campsite I can because I'm likely going to be here 2 nights. Oh, what a scorcher today. 31 degrees, super hot, a long day for me. Can finally take off my hat because the sun is getting down and a little bit of cloud is shading me, which is nice. It's finally cooling off. Challenging afternoon. I got to Sandford Lake, cleared a bit of portage on the way in, and when I got here, I could not find a campsite. That happens on a canoe trip. Well, I'm in a bit of a jam. This happens on canoe trips. The bottom half of this lake is just full of islands and peninsulas. I got a friend here. And I could not find a campsite. And Garbage Bay has an awful lot of structure. It's got lots of peninsulas and islands. Zigzagged all over the lake, going from peninsula to island to peninsula, and just couldn't find anything. So I spent a couple hours doing that in that heat. So I came up further. That was Garbage Bay, by the way. Maybe that's why they call it Garbage Bay. It's garbage for campsites. Anyway, came further north. This island had a name, Eddie's Island, so I figured it's got to have a campsite. It's got this little tiny site. It's got a huge lodge on the other side. There's nobody around. One option is to find a patch of ground and camp here and be gone in the morning before anybody even knows I'm here. Quite interesting, actually. There's no guests here, so it's still pretty quiet. I have seen one motorboat. There's a pilot nearby, parked nearby. There is a plane over in the next bay over parked. I think he services the lodge, and they might be just up here to get started or do a bit of fishing on their own. I don't know. So somebody's up here. I may paddle over there. But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of boats. Seen 2 motorboats, no other canoes. And that's what you're going to get with Crownland camping. You're going to run into outfitters, and you're going to run into the odd motorboat. This time of year, though, it's pretty minimal. And I've done trips in Quetico where I've seen on average like 8 or 9 parties a day, and you know, I don't know what spoils my adventure worse, seeing a whole bunch of other parties or seeing a few motorboats. Choose your own adventure, right? Just come. If you're going on Crown land, you're exploring some new area like I am, just be aware that you could bump into other people with other uses. Not a big deal for me. Just wanted to see this lake and check it out and enjoy what it has to offer. I'm just going to chill out, finish some wine, crawl into bed, read a bit of a book, and go to sleep. Coffee. And that, folks, is breakfast. A little bit of hot sauce always makes the eggs taste better. I have not been eating well on this trip. It's just been too hot. And long days, not much food, trying to drink as much water as I possibly can. It's going to be another hot day today, but I'm going to make this a shorter day. I am going to take time to have a proper breakfast, pack up. I'm going to explore this lake a little bit, and then head back into Wasp Lake. I was going to spend 2 nights here, but I just can't find a good campsite. There's lots on Wasp, so I'm heading back. That'll make it a little bit easier to get out in the next couple days. It always feels good to be back on the water. I'm gonna go check out the Ann Bay Portage and then scoot across and check out some cliffs and make my way back into Wasp. I thought I'd come check this out. This is the Ann Bay Portage. It's 2 kilometers from here into Otter Lake. I'm not going to be doing that today, but maybe on a future trip. Found an actual campsite. It's a little tricky. It's up there on the cliff. So maybe on a future trip I might use that. Well, I think I've gone as far north on Sanford as I'm going to. Overall, the water's been pretty calm, but the wind's picking up a little bit. It's getting a little bit choppy. Nothing too serious, but it's a very big lake. So I'll take advantage of the mild chop and make it back to the more sheltered bay from where I came. Hey gang, you'll notice that the tarp is up. When I got here, it was threatening to storm. The sky was getting dark, the wind was picking up, there was thunder in the distance. I saw a few flashes of lightning. So the first thing I did was I ran and got my camera and took a time lapse, just like what any good YouTuber would do. Second thing I did was I put up the tarp, and as soon as I did, the weather calmed down, it really settled out. The energy in the sky seemed to dissipate, and no storm. So it's really interesting because it's super, super hot during the day. And you expect a thunderstorm in the afternoon. It doesn't happen. It just seems to build up to almost a thunderstorm, then it goes away. So maybe in a couple days we'll get a legit thunderstorm. Check out my campsite. I'll focus on what's in the back here. Previous occupants decided to build a little fence. I think they intended to build a bench, but it's more like a fence. So I'm going to take that apart. And in the very back here looks like a bear cache. Not sure what's going on with that. It looks like it's very fortified. There's logs on top, and there's a cooking grate inside. So I don't know why people build stuff like this. Those logs would make a great bench. Maybe before I leave, I'll make a nice bench for people to sit on. Can you hear that? I don't think so. I'm going to bring it closer. So that noise is coming from the dead jack pine that's laying over there. That's a chomping noise. That is bark beetle or Sawyer beetle chewing on dead wood. And there's little holes, and there's a little bit of sawdust around each hole. And when I go over and try and record sound, if I'm not careful enough, it goes quiet, because they probably think I'm a woodpecker that wants to eat them. Not that they do a lot of thought, but that's what instinct tells them. Back to the previous theme of weather. I hear raindrops on my tarp. I don't know if you can hear that, but I can. I am so glad I put up the tarp, so glad. I will keep you posted with every weather update possible. Don't you worry. All right. Time for the morning update. You know what? I'm not liking this. It looks like I just threw the camera up in a weird angle. Every YouTuber's doing that. Director.
Dude, just do your lines.
Yeah. Can we get a different set design here? Perhaps like perpendicular blocking with the camera and more symmetry. Let's go for a Wes Anderson theme.
I don't think that's going to work.
I'm sure we can do it. In a remote set of lakes, deep in northern Ontario, our hero embarks on an epic journey unlike anything before. Through adventure, we will redefine what it means to canoe trip and perhaps learn something about ourselves along the way. just everywhere. That portage is just full of mosquitoes.